marking levels, which just simply flattened onto one another like pancakes.
The unsolved mystery of the 169th victim's unidentified leg of the Oklahoma City bombing. April 19th, 1995, a date that will forever be etched in the history of Oklahoma City and in the heart of every American. At 9:02 a.m., a truck bomb detonated outside the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, taking the lives of 168 people and changing the lives of countless others. It was the deadliest act of domestic terrorism the country had ever seen.
Maybe one of the benefits of me talking to you today is that you'll see that maybe not everything is true that you've heard about me.
For example, what's not true?
Well, am I pure evil? Am I the face of terror sitting here in front of you?
Among the dead were 19 children, countless workers, mothers, fathers, and friends. But amidst this tragedy, there remains a haunting, unresolved mystery. The identity of the 169th victim, whose severed leg was found in the rubble and who was never officially identified.
It's an affiliate in Oklahoma City, KFOR, to bring you the latest that they're having live updates on this explosion.
The bombing itself was an act of unfathomable violence. Timothy McVeigh's truck bomb decimated the Murrah building, sending shockwaves that could be felt miles away. Hundreds of people were injured, and 168 lives were tragically lost. Yet, one story remains shrouded in mystery. A story of an unknown victim whose severed leg was discovered among the debris. This victim, who remains unidentified to this day, became the 169th casualty of that dark day. Even though their identity was never fully known, what happened to this person, and who were they? How did they meet their untimely, anonymous end?
The whole back of the building just fell in on us. It's just like he was a big...
In the immediate aftermath of the bombing, authorities were thrust into a chaotic and overwhelming recovery effort. The Murrah building had collapsed, and the scale of the destruction left both officials and citizens stunned. Amidst the debris, rescue teams worked relentlessly to pull survivors from the wreckage, but not all were so fortunate. One particular discovery sent waves of confusion and concern through the recovery team: an unidentified leg, severed at the knee, was found in the rubble. No immediate identification could be made, and for days it remained an anonymous, tragic part of the puzzle.
We've seen a lot of voids where if someone had been in there, they could have survived. And unfortunately, every void that we've seen has not had a survivor in it, and that's the saddest part.
The leg was carefully preserved, cataloged, and examined by forensic teams who were already working tirelessly to identify victims through DNA, dental records, and any other possible means of identification. Despite their best efforts, however, the leg's owner remained a mystery. No missing persons reports matched the leg, and no clear connection could be made to the known victims of the bombing. The search for answers continued, but as time dragged on and the identity of the 169th victim seemed increasingly elusive, the leg itself was a tragic and sobering reminder of the human cost of that day, a body part that had once belonged to someone with a name and a family and a life. Yet that person was lost to history, and their story left untold.
Local hospital as we do.
As the death toll rose to 168, the mystery of the unidentified leg grew larger. Was this leg a reminder of the chaos that had unfolded? Was it a symbol of the countless lives shattered in an instant? And why, with so much effort, could no one identify the person to whom it belonged? The authorities knew that if they could identify this victim, they could close one more painful chapter in the city's recovery. But despite their best efforts, the answers simply did not come. The leg would forever remain without a name.
In Oklahoma City was an attack on innocent children and defenseless citizens. It was an act of cowardice, and it was evil.
Forensic experts are often faced with situations where body parts are severed or damaged beyond immediate recognition. It's a painstaking process, and while they use every method available, DNA, dental records, and even personal effects, it doesn't always lead to answers right away. With the leg found in the wreckage, they couldn't find any matches to the individuals the forensic experts had identified. It was one of the most heartbreaking and frustrating parts of the investigation. The people were mad, and the people wanted answers. They wanted to know who everyone was, to be able to say goodbye and honor their memory. But the leg, it was a constant reminder that some stories would remain unknown. That was one of the hardest parts, knowing that someone had suffered and no one could tell us who they were.
The United States will not tolerate it, and I will not allow the people of this country to be intimidated by evil cowards.
Some believe that the leg belonged to an unborn child, but the leg was far too big to belong to a child, while others believe that it was a homeless person with no records available, which is a completely viable solution. But the FBI released a statement that the leg could not be identified to any of the victims at the bombing site, and it may as well could have been another accomplice to McVeigh. As time passed, the city began to heal, and memorials were erected in the honor of the victims. The Oklahoma City National Memorial was created to remember the 168 lives lost that day. Each victim was represented by a chair, 168 chairs, one for each person, but there was no chair for the 169th victim, the unidentified leg, and the person it belonged to was left without recognition in the memorial. An unsettling and unresolved part of the history.
Everything started going like this, and I dove under the desk, and then all the glass came in and the ceilings came down, and I probably got cut worse if I hadn't been under the desk. I just got little scrapes and scratches.
Despite the passage of time, the question remains, who was this person? What happened to them? And why, after all these years, have we never discovered their identity?
Talking to victims through void spaces, people are crying out to us. We're reassuring them the best we can. We're able to reach through cracks and hold people's hands and reassure them as best we can, but getting to them is going to take a long time.
The mystery of the 169th victim's leg represents something larger, a sense of loss that cannot always be quantified. It's the loss of an individual whose name may never be known, whose family may never have closure. It's a reminder that even in the most devastating tragedies, there are stories left untold and questions that remain unanswered.
Most people in this country think you are the face of evil, don't they?
They do. But sitting down here now, and let me make clear, I'm not sitting here trying to influence you, and I'm not putting on a game face. I'm not conning anybody. I'm just being me.
In Oklahoma City, the memory of that day is kept alive, not only in the formal memorials, but in the hearts of the people who lived through it. The bombing, though physically devastating, changed the lives of the survivors in ways that are still felt today, and for many, the mystery of the 169th victim, the leg without a name, remains a symbol of all the unanswered questions, the lives lost without a trace. The 169th victim will never be forgotten in coming years. Though their identity may never be known, their place in history remains significant. They are part of the story of the Oklahoma City bombing, A story of strength, resilience, and the pursuit of justice, even when some answers remain elusive. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like or a subscribe. It would greatly help me out in the creation of these videos. Whether you're listening to go to sleep, doing homework, or just simply relaxing, I hope you have a wonderful day.